Welcome to episode 308. Today I'm speaking with the first female president of the Florida International Airshow and all-around great person, Denise Dull. If you like exciting, action-packed air shows that give back to the local community, I think you'll love the Florida International Airshow in Punta Gorda, Florida. And we are really excited to actually be joining the Florida International Airshow with the Stuck Mic AvCast this year. We'll actually have a tent there. Come say hello to us. We're also going to have our sister podcast there, Aviation Careers Podcast. And before we begin, if you're one of those people that, of course, are looking for those free scholarships guides, this episode sponsored by the law offices of Robert M. Strumer, LLC. You can find them at www.strumerlaw.com, giving away 50 scholarships guides, and you can get yours for free using the coupon code Strumer Law. The law offices of Robert M. Strumer, LLC handles various aviation matters, including FAA safety investigations and pilot medical certification. You can find them again at www.strumerlaw.com, and they are giving away 50 of those scholarships guides. And that's the guide that has over $120 million in scholarships that we've been publishing here for many years. Get it for free, Strumer Law. Use the coupon code. Let's move on to the cruise flight. Again, I'm honored to be speaking with Denise Dull, president of the Florida International Airshow. And Denise, this is really awesome to have you on here. And I'm so excited to talk about your story, how you got involved with the air show. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here. We're excited to have you to the show, too. It's a first for us.
It's a first for me. Honestly, I've been to Punta Gorda a bunch of times. I've never been able to go to the air show. I'm so excited to get involved with it. And of course, our program coordinator, Matt Lynn, is somewhat involved in the show, isn't he?
He is, and he keeps saying he's going to exit, but I keep pulling him back in, just like that Scarface movie. You can't escape.
No, absolutely not.
Just when you're out, we pull you back in.
It's funny you said that. You have a great sense of humor. And there's something I have to quote from right off the bat here. It's one of my favorite quotes from you. It's talking about the air show. And Denise's quote is, an air show is like taking football, pizza, beer, baseball, fireworks, NASCAR, and Skynyrd and rolling it all up with a big bang. And if you've not been to an air show, you're missing a lot of fun, and we all need more of that. What an incredible quote from you, Denise. I think that's like one of my favorite things there. I love that reference to Skynyrd because I think a lot of people that aren't quite my age will understand that one, but they can understand all the other things there.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't come to Florida, I don't think, without putting a little Skynyrd reference in there. And I'm not traditionally from Florida, but I do understand the Florida reference when it comes to Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the air show. Some people don't know what the Florida International Airshow is, but it's a really great show that gives back. So if we're coming to see an air show, what can we expect? If
you're coming to see the Florida International Airshow, it's been around for about, this is the 41st International Airshow. Florida's our show started as I want to say it was an Army base, a training base for pilots with the P-40 Warhawks. So we have a little bit of a tie into the airport and into the P-40 Warhawks, which we're going to kind of have a little surprise with this year. So that's going to be interesting. And then turned into some other aircraft. But it's a very exciting show. It's very family-oriented. We have a lot of very exciting things for kids. It's a multi-generational show. We have all ages. You can see grandparents with their kids and then their kids. So it's a very multi-generational event. I like to say this year's show is a show for the math whizzes, because you never thought you were going to use your math, but we have the 16, 17, and 18. So with the Thunderbirds, we have the F-16s. We have Randy Ball and his MiG-17, and then we're going to have the Navy team in with F-18s. So we're covering the gamut on the teens, on the teen years this year. And then also we have a number of other performers coming with a lot of fan favorites in Patty Wagstaff, SOCOM. Extreme Flight does very well with kids and Patrick and Natalia. And we have a night show, a twilight show for our VIP and our sponsors with Red Line Air shows, and they do a fabulous job with a night show. So we have a wide range of a show that we think is really going to excite folks that are coming in to watch the show this year.
Yeah, just action-packed, Patrick, and also looking at all the different Randy Ball. I mean, just some really exciting, just blowing, going type of show.
Everyone loves the loud and fast. I mean, that's what gets the kids on up to the big kids, and the veteran community just loves that stuff too. Our static line, Matt handles our static line, and he's lined up quite a few folks for that. We have some surprises on that line as well. Air shows are meant to be full of surprises. So we don't want to give too much of everything away, but we hope that we're going to bring a show that people will want to come and see, and then will want to come back and see over and over again, because Punta Gorda is a great place to see, not just an air show, but it's a great community town feel. It's a great place to visit. If you haven't been there, it has a lot to offer when you come to town.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just so much there. Military museum, right down there's a pier there that you can walk out to, and there's all these shops, great restaurants. So if you're there for the show, make sure you get out and not just make it a weekend at the show, possibly make a week of vacation. It's actually a wonderful vacation spot. And I live in Florida, and we actually vacation there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great fishing. Beautiful sunsets, and then we also have the Vietnam Memorial Wall has been a good draw also, and very touching if you haven't been past to see that. Along with the Military Heritage Museum is just a lot of amazing things. The simulator seems to be great. Pilots love to go in there and test the skills against their wives and their kids. That's always a great draw. They can't be pulled out fast enough. So that's always something that they'd like to visit.
I can't say enough about that museum. It's not far from the airport, actually, is it? About how far is that?
It's probably, I would say, less than a couple of miles. And actually, they are going to host our performer reception for us. And this year, we're going to do something a little bit different. Even though the performer reception is going to be closed off for a period of time, just for us to do some presentos of from the county and the city to the jet team, we are going to then roll into the Fisherman's Village, which is a really nice area that a lot of tourists come to see. We're going to open it up on Saturday evening after the show, hopefully by about 7 o'clock, for guests to be able to interact with performers and get autographs and spend some time with the jet team, as well as performers that are there, and be able to interact and get spend some time with folks from the show. Yeah, Saturday's going to be a fun, action-packed day.
That's that Fisherman Village, you said?
Fisherman's Village. Yes, it's right off the back side of the Military Heritage Museum. So when you come in the front of the museum, they have some memorable aircraft and things out front. And then as you come out the back side, that whole area has some pavement and stones and different things. And the back side comes out to the harbor, and there's a walkway that'll take you right into Fisherman's Village, which is has a long harbor walk and some restaurants and shops and things like that. And then they are partnering with us to in center court have an area where folks can get autographs and spend some time with the performers and the flight team.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's the pier I think I was talking about, Fisherman's Village. Some great restaurants, just a blast, just to hang out there.
Oh yeah, if you haven't been there in a while, it's going through a little bit of changes. They now have a beach and a tiki bar, and that's where the Kingfisher fleet takes their sunset cruises and their fishing cruises out of, and it's a great place to just hang out and enjoy the weather and some cocktails and some good food. And so we're going to take folks over there too and have some fun.
So Denise, let's talk a little bit about you. I know I mentioned that you were the first female president of the air show. You have a background in aviation or no?
I do not. I do not have a background in aviation, and my family has, while we have a small military background, I do have an uncle who served in Vietnam, who was my godfather, and another uncle who was in the Navy and had small stationing in Japan. we're not a traditional military family, and we're not, we don't have those ties where you typically see that come into air shows. I just fell into it, I guess, per se, by some things that I did in nonprofit work and some great friendships. And then I took a little trip to AvCast and went to a conference and went to Las Vegas. And then, things happen in Las Vegas. You don't say no, and then you wind up being president of the air show. I guess.
And from your background, you have a lot of experience with nonprofits, but and that's something I want to talk about. People may not realize most, if not all, the profits from this go back into the community. And so, what do you do with those profits? How do you help the local community?
Yeah, we're a totally volunteer board and show. So we don't have currently anyone that's on a payroll or salary or anything like that runs the show. Some shows do. Some shows have folks that they contract out to that run their shows and consult and stuff like that. We are totally operated by volunteers, which it can be difficult for a show our size. We're considered to be on the verge of a medium to large size show, and growing. So we're growing into a pretty large show. We take just enough from the show to maintain and become sustainable. There's an account size that we want to have to cover should, I'm going to knock on wood because I hate to talk about things that you don't want to jinx yourself, but you want to, cover the things you need to cover, make sure you have a sustainable show for the years going forward. And then we take whatever is left on at the end of the show or show weekend, and we want to go back and help all those groups that helped us put on the show. It takes about 600 plus volunteers to run show weekend for us. So we go out to the community. We ask the groups that help us over the years to provide volunteers for us, and in return, we try to cut checks and donate those funds back to those groups at the end of the show. We're not a for-profit organization. We want to give back as much as we can to those groups that help us. So when I ask for sponsorships, or our director of sponsorship asks for sponsorships, we're not asking for funds, for our organization. We're just asking that you help us put on a show and an event weekend for families in the community, and then you're supporting the organizations in your community as well. It's not all about the show. It's about the weekend and about us helping the community as well.
How would you become a sponsor if someone's listening or watching right now?
Online, we have smaller sponsorships available that you can even view in the menu on our website. Our website is floridaairshow.com. We try to keep the small ones on there so that folks can just apply or submit and pick what they choose to support in the level that they're comfortable with, and pay right online. And then we pick that up, provide them with the tickets or what have you that they're going to receive in that package. Or they can contact either myself, Dana Carr is still very involved in that aspect of it, or our director of sponsorships, who is in transition kind of right now. But there's information there on how you can get involved on a larger sponsorship package. And we try to tailor those experiences to what that company or organization needs from us. Not everybody wants that banner, sponsor banner, or those, 20 general mission tickets or what have you. So, hey, if it's on the showgrounds, I can put somebody's name on it, or we can develop an experience that's going to work for you. And we have, if it's something that brings value to your organization or promotes your organization or service in a way that we can genuinely and together bring awareness to what you're doing or what you want to share, we'll come up with a solution or a package that works for you. And we've created some really great partnerships that way. For example, Florida Power and Light this year, they came to us after the hurricanes. And I say hurricanes because we've had more than one over the last 2 years. they wanted the community to be aware that they wanted to partner and show their support for community events. We started with a very small sponsorship. They wanted to support our Earn Your Wings reading program in our elementary schools. So they started with printing our tickets. That has since developed into a on-site drone competition in high school, with high schools coming in on Saturday, and they're going to be competing in a enclosed tent area on site on Saturday, so that they're not only just doing the reading program, they're also having an on-site competition for high school kids to become more involved in drone competitions, and we're doing that with them on Saturday. It's become a much bigger sponsorship package than we ever anticipated. It's put us in a STEM situation where we didn't anticipate we would be, and we're looking at things even further down the road where drone things will become part of our show potentially down the road. So it started with a conversation about reading. We're way down the road in things we could do in sponsorship. So that's how it all starts.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably where having that experience in the nonprofits has helped you. Tell us a little bit about that, how you were involved in some other nonprofits before this.
I came to Florida from Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, and I worked for a company there in insurance, and not everybody's going to like that word these days, but I was blessed. The gentlemen that I worked for were very philanthropic. We were in a community right outside of Philadelphia where we had the resources. It was around Villanova. Villanova was very big on Special Olympics. And there were some other things there. So we were very involved in getting our groups to go and do charity work. So I got involved very early in my careers in being involved in charities and company work. That got me to board work, and as I moved to Florida, I didn't want to lose that aspect because in my family, service, we were always taught that service is the best way to show your value as a person. So we were always taught to give back. And I didn't know anybody when I moved here. I moved to get married, and it was my way of meeting people. So I was asked early on to join some boards, and it started with, I didn't join the board, but I was asked to join a fundraiser, and my first one was Habitat for Humanity. And we started with what was called a Casablanca night, and it just so happened that it was after Hurricane Charlie that I got to meet Dana. And we had our fundraiser in his hangar, actually. And that's kind of maybe where I first started to have my touch with aviation. We did it was an awesome fundraiser. He did a really good job of cleaning it out. It was a beautiful, perfect setting for Casablanca night in his hangar. But, from there I got involved. I could probably run down a laundry list of charities that I've worked for or with in fundraising, and that have touched on probably most, if not all, of American Cancer Society, March of Dimes, a lot of them throughout the years. Our biggest one, and probably the one I'm most proud of, was a fundraiser that a friend of mine and I chaired it. She helped me, and actually she's still involved with me with the air show, Jill Ferguson. I chaired it. We developed it together. It was called the Barstool Open, and it was in Punta Gorda. It still is. It's actually going to happen this weekend. It was a fun event. We just started talking, and we're like, how fun would it be if we could just develop a par 3 mini golf event where you could go from bar to bar and people could pay to play, and at the end of the day we just gave prizes away and we raised some money, and we'd find a charity, and because it was just like a pub crawl, but with mini golf attached to it. Somebody else was doing it out in the Midwest. And, it works in towns like this because bars are so close together, you can walk. At the same time, we were being approached by Dollars for Mammograms, which was a nonprofit that was trying to find funding to develop their services into Charlotte County because they had one zip code that they could afford to bring mammogram services into in the Charlotte County, and that's all they could afford to bring into the county. So we said, okay, well, we'll do it. It was an October event. We picked the first Saturday of October, and we're like, okay, we'll give it a try. The first one we did, we had no idea how it was going to go. We wound up raising almost, I want to say it was like $8,000 or $10,000 in a Saturday. We thought it was amazing. We were rolling in money in my living room, counting cash. We thought, this is unbelievable. But so we decided we let that one go. The second year we thought, well, if we can do it in Punta Gorda, we'll do it in Port Charlotte too. We wanted to do something for kids. If we did it for adults, we wanted to do children because we had heard that the need was still so great after Hurricane Charlie that kids were not getting fed in Charlotte County schools, or they needed to fund the additional supplemental to the Charlotte County programs for the lunch program. So we did, there was a similar program to what's now Backpack for Kids. It was in the school program called Dr. Lucy Gardner was doing it. So we helped her to start that program. And we did Backpacks for Kids. And it wasn't quite as popular as the October event, but we still raised a substantial amount of money. Through the years that I did it with Jill, together we had 10 years of work together. We raised money for an adaptive playground project for the schools. We did the homeless, Charlotte County Homeless Coalition. We started a program with the Charlotte Behavioral Health for suicide prevention in schools, elementary schools, and middle schools for kids. And together we raised over $500,000. So that's probably one of the most things I'm proudest of in my nonprofit career. But when I left my paying job, when I say I retired, because I think I did, I went to work for what's called the Continuum of Care here in Charlotte County and began work in serving the homeless. So I actually went to work for a nonprofit and began doing nonprofit work. So that's and then from there, what I do now is I am the director of operations and marketing for a nonprofit that does advocate for affordable housing for military families and at-risk families. So we're actually building and trying to renovate and remodel and provide housing for folks who can't afford or get their own housing.
Wow. Hats off to you for all that you've done. I mean, that's incredible and this is all, most of it's been volunteer. Obviously this last one here you're involved as an employee there.
I'm in a paying gig now. The air show is my non-paying gig.
And we appreciate that. And that's something that I think people really need to know is a lot of people that are there to give back. And I think it has there's this great, partnership that you have with all these different organizations, whether it's the folks that are out there performing, the vendors, the advertisers, and even the airport. And what's interesting is now you shifted over to aviation. I think that's really cool, but it must be really tough. I mean, how do you get something like this together? Give us a quick 60 seconds how to plan an air show. No, just kidding. I'm not.
60 seconds on how to plan an air show. You learn from everybody else that's doing it, and then you steal their ideas, and then you bring it back in and try to do it yourself. I think we have some great people that we kind of I listen from too. I'm also on the CKS board, the Southeast Council of Air Shows, and Natasha from Wings Over Houston, and I watch everybody else and then come back and try to do it. But there's a great footprint there from 42 years of all the people who have done it before us. There really has been. You learn from what they didn't do right, I guess, and you take everything they did do right and just tweak it to try to make it right. We're automating a lot of things over the past couple years because there's a lot of great tools out there to make things simpler, faster, and more efficient. And we did a lot of work on that over the past 2 years. The other thing is putting the right people in the room. We have an awesome team. Matt Len is one of them, and I know he's a good friend of yours. Stan Smith, Dana, all those, putting the right people in the room that know what they're doing is half the battle, and you can't do it by yourself. There's no way, and you have to have a board and the folks that help you do the job in the room. And we get more people coming to the area that even bring those qualities to us. Retired folks from the military and other forms, and people from other shows that come in and say, "Hey, listen, I was at Sun and Fun, or I was at Oshkosh, or I've been at this show," and they'll come in and they'll help us by telling us what they did that worked and didn't work. And it's been really good to have those tools.
Like with us at Stuck Mic AvCast, and we've helped for many different shows. And Matt and I got talking and said, "Hey, why don't we help you guys with this?" I mean, we've done so many of them, and it's just, there's so many really cool things that are out there that you can do for an air show. If you have a talent, like we like to do interviews, you can do that. If you have any other talent, you can help out with an air show. It doesn't have to be aviation related, by the way, right? I mean, there's lots of things you need, right?
Yeah, it's a business when you look at it, right? Just like running at the end of the day, you're in it to not lose money. You're in it to make create a good experience for everybody who's there to enjoy the show, and you don't want anything bad to happen. So it's a risk management. So that's, everybody wants the same thing, and if you're learning from everybody else that's doing something right, the demographics are different. Not everybody has the same layout. Not everybody has the same parking factors. Not everybody has the same food vendors or what have you. But you have the same end mission. You have the same beginning. You can use the same tools. So we all share in the same game, I guess you could say.
So you have some really great performers coming there. Some A-list performers: Patty Wagstaff, Patrick McAlee, the Thunderbirds, Randy Ball. I mean, everybody that's coming in there is some amazing performers. What are the challenges of getting those performers, either logistically or just in general marketing to them?
Yeah, I think everybody wants them as a challenge, in and of itself. We have to compete against every other show that's happening in Florida around the same time of year. We have Sanford right before us, and I think we have Stuart right after us. So, it's a challenge and it's a gift. It's a gift because if they're coming here, it's easy to go to one right before us, right after us, from an expense standpoint for those performers. It's a challenge because some of our people see them there, well, we just saw them there, or we just saw them there. But two, it's not cheap to bring some people. There's gas, there's hotel rooms, there's there's a lot of expense involved in some of these things, and it takes some finesse, and it takes some talk. Jet teams are difficult to get worked into the schedule. Because some can only come certain times a year, some can only make their schedules work certain times a year, but they're the ones people want to see, and they don't understand why can't they come now. Well, we're on a working airport also, and our busiest time of year is March, and that's when certain teams want to come. We can't shut down our airport for an air show in March. I don't think our airport would love us all that much. So, it just, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work out. But I can say this, and I've told our community this a number of times, and they'll probably get tired of me of hearing the story. When the first time I went out to Vegas and we stepped foot on the conference floor and we did start to meet with some of these performers, I did not realize how much people do want to come to our show, and how they liked our show until I went out there, and I was humbled by it. I think, you have to respect them. You have to be hospitable. You have to treat everybody, with respect, and give them a reason to come, and they will want to come. And most performers do want to come to our show. We get calls. We get a lot of calls, and we still are getting calls of people that want to come. Our card is full. But we know we like to be hospitable. We like to entertain, and we like to welcome people into Punta Gorda, into our show. So we pride ourselves on that, and we hope that we are good hosts to our guests, both our ticket holders and our performers.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, we've talked a lot about the air show and performers, but there's many more things to do during the day. Obviously, we're going to want something to eat. We're also going to maybe want to buy some souvenirs, possibly do some other things. So other than, obviously, with us, with Stuck Mike AvCast, a general aviation podcast, and also our Aviation Careers podcast, what other vendors will be there that are kind of outside the purview of what most people think of just, watching an air show above them? What else can they see and do?
We have about, I want to say 30 or 40 just regular craft type vendors that are coming in on Vending Row. And we're still adding those actually every day. We get some more interest in it, and they run the gamut from patio umbrellas to tower gardens to, and a lot of our veteran services, the nonprofit vending veteran services, Military Heritage Museum's going to be out there with some stuff, the interactive things and stuff like that. So, they're there. The Air Force simulators and their big trailers are coming out. We have vendors with merchandise and apparel and things like that. Interactive children's zone, with some things to keep the kids busy. That's always important, because if the kids aren't busy, mom's not happy, you can't have a good afternoon. So we have 20-some food trucks and food vendors. So there's a wide variety of food options. We have 3 tiki bars with some additional portables for water and beverages. So there's a lot of options for food and beverages. And then your recruiters and other military and the statics. There's a very large static line, some boats, some, other things to look at. So we're going to keep you busy.
That is one of the things I think is great about air shows is, and I always tell people this, just go there, not just for the air show, go for the other things, but also, when I mentioned this to my team about the Florida International Airshow, they were all like, man, I want to go. This is really cool. And it's one of those places where over the years now, because it's been running for a while, there's also a community and friends that they make at that specific air show. So that's another really cool thing, is the fact that you actually get to see some of those friends. Like, as a matter of fact, my buddy from work, Scott Farnsworth, he's actually going to be flying, I think, in the show, or his team will be there.
I forgot Scott in the lineup. How did I forget Scott? Scott comes. We love Scott. Yeah.
Awesome. He is absolutely awesome. And if you haven't seen his plane, it's pretty amazing. It's actually is parked right over next to me here, and it's a really great show. You think it's just air racing, but he has a really cool air show that goes along with it.
He does, and he's a favorite that comes in, just like Patty. He's been with us, often over the years, and as soon as you put his name up on the performer listing, people are excited. They know, is he coming again? Is he coming again? And they really do. Because he has a nice setup on the static line also when he comes. Very interactive with our crowd and all through the weekend. And they love when he comes.
Yeah, and that's the Racers Jet Team. It's actually with Jerry Jive Kirby and also Scott Farnsworth, two great performers at all the different air shows.
On Thursday, we're going to start on Thursday night actually with a kickoff at the 4 Point Sheraton Tiki Bar down by the water. And we are having Dewey come in with Dream big entertainment with the Maverick F-18 cockpit model, so he can take pictures with the kids, and he does a really good piece where you can get in the plane, take your pictures, and as a memento. So he's going to kick that off on Thursday and then move the plane over on to airport grounds for the weekend. That downtown area has a great feel to it. It's a great area to walk around, and it'll be a nice night, and that'll get us started on Thursday night.
By the way, if you're looking to find out more about tickets, FloridaAirShow.com has the whole lineup on there, how you can find tickets, volunteers, sponsors, everything, contact information. They have a great website. Also, go check out their Facebook page, TikTok, Instagram, a couple different videos you can watch, but just a lot of great stuff you guys are doing out there. I think this is absolutely terrific what you've done.
We're just getting ready to put the parking information up. That's going to be going up in the next couple of days. We just finished getting that finalized. We had, we're still in long-term recovery here, so people had to bear with us on a couple of things. We had to finalize some lots and stuff where we had trailers and things that are still here. So things were a little slower on the parking side for us, but we finally wrapped it up. So we'll be putting the parking and directions out over the next couple of days.
And the show starts at noon, but the gates open at 9. So make sure you come by and check out some of the vendors. There are lots of fun things to do, especially for the kids. November 4th and 5th of 2023. If you're listening to this after that, of course, there'll be another one the next year. You can find out more at FloridaAirShow.com. It's a terrific website, like I said, and I know I'm going to get this question. How about people with campers? Anybody that's bringing their RV?
That's a great question. We have said in the past that you can park there. You just can't stay overnight in any of the lots out there. So and you can't watch the show from your camper. You got to come into the camping grounds. So we did parking is included in the ticket price this year, but we don't like guests to park and then watch the show from the parking lot. So you have to come into the lots, but parking is included in your ticket price. I don't know how else you can make that any clearer, because we get, when you're on the water too, and I don't know how, I think you have to come into the lots, into the gates when you go to a show like in Fort Lauderdale or what have you, but I get the question too, can you see the air show from the harbor? Don't know. I'm at the air show. So, because we want people to come to the show and see the show. That's where everybody is, so.
So, Denise, how about anything else you can tell us about the air show? Any, final thoughts on, and the airport, obviously, talk a little bit about them. And
we have had and continue to have a great relationship with the airport. They help us do what we do. It is a operating airport while we are on grounds. They have commercial flights coming in and out during the show. They have an FBO, an air center, that's operational during the show as well. So their private carriers or their private planes will be operational during the show as well. So, we have some challenges with planes moving in different places during the show. So, we hope that our guests are going to be respectful of some things that we have to have in place. People not walking in certain areas and watching out and being a little cognizant of, aircraft that are moving and things like that. So everything is done for the safety of our guests. We have to have TSA rules in place for baggage checks and things like that. It's just like you're on airport grounds. So we hope that folks are just patient with us and aware of that fact that, you're at the airport. And that's what's happening when we're asking you to do certain things. It's because we are on airport grounds.
Absolutely. It's don't forget Allegiant Airlines. They're a big sponsor, and they also are operating all day out of there, right?
We could talk about our sponsors too, because we have PGD, Punta Gorda Airport, is a presenting sponsor. They not only do they help us out on the airport with grounds and stuff, but they are presenting sponsor of FPL. Tropical Smoothie is a presenting sponsor for us. They like to give samples away. They're going to be giving some samples away at the entranceways. When you come in, you get to taste their deliciousness. And then we also use them for box lunches in our Flightline Club. So on Saturday and Sunday, we provide box lunches in the Flightline Club, and they help us with that. So just a couple of our major sponsors, and then that help us out in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're going to help out as much as we can with getting as many interviews as possible. So if you want to hear the interviews, stuckmikeavcast.com, and also FloridaAirShow.com. You can find out more on their website and listen to some of those interviews after the show. So say you've missed the show, we're going to get as many interviews as we can. Patrick McAlee, Scott Farnsworth. We're also going to get at Patty Wagstaff, Thunderbirds, just like we do at the other air shows. And it's a lot of fun because not only do you get to listen to it, you're reliving that experience. If you can't make it, or while you're there, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
We have you set up right next to the Jumbotron. So that's where
cool. Yeah. So to find us, Jumbotron, come say hi, get a picture with us. We're going to have, of course, our little banner in the back. So like we always do at all the air shows, come get a picture with one of your favorite co-hosts. Tom Frick will be there. We're trying to get Victoria Newville, who hasn't been on in a while, and some of the other co-hosts. Bill English may actually be joining us too in the studio there, and also at the booth, and possibly some other folks that have been past host of the show, so a little surprise there.
That's right in the hub. You'll be right in the big hub area, which is where all the food trucks are. Right off to the Tiki Bar, the Flightline Club's right there. Reserved seating, all that's right in that area, right on Flightline.
And come on out. Come say hi to my wife. I know a lot of folks don't realize my wife was in aviation too. She actually used to fly down to Antarctica and did 3 tours down there. So something maybe you'll come out and visit. It's a lot of people are surprised by that. And by the way, we have a real connection here with the air show. Obviously, Denise and I are both from Philadelphia. I was born in the Philadelphia Naval Hospital right there. If you're from Philadelphia, make sure you come by and say hi to Denise.
Especially on Sunday, because there's a game on Sunday. They're playing Dallas.
People that enjoy games, air shows, and like you said, it's like football, pizza, beer, baseball, fireworks, NASCAR, and Skynyrd rolled up with a big bang. And I think you're going to love the air show here at FloridaAirShow.com. You can get your tickets there, find out more. You can see some of the videos and also some of the interviews that are online here. Denise Dull, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we're definitely going to have you back on again, sure. And even during the show. We'll be wandering around with both our microphone and also a camera over at the show, so we'll get a couple of interviews there, and it'll be just a blast.
I was telling Matt this last night during the board meeting. I don't know if it's because I think we're just prepared. We have a great director of volunteers who's kind of wrapped everything up this year too, and I'm just kind of calm. I don't know if it's a calm before the storm or what, but we had a good board meeting last night. We're into that weekly board meetings now, and we were laughing. Everybody was having a good time. We were kind of all there wasn't that stress and kind of gritting of the teeth like we do going into normal shows. So, and it's going to be a big show. Ticket sales. A lot of the premium stuff is either sold out or selling pretty quick. And normally I'm a little stressed out and nervous, or I have been coming up to this. I'm kind of mellowing out. I don't know what it is, but I'm getting a calm and easy feeling about this. So I think it's going to be a really fun weekend. I really do. I think we're going to have a good show. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Again, Denise, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody that's listening right now. And also especially to our sponsor, the law offices of Robert M. Strumer, LLC. Those are the folks that handle all those aviation matters, including FAA safety investigations and pilot medical certifications. You can find them at www.strumerlaw.com. Also, don't forget, they're giving away 50 scholarships guides using that coupon code StrumerLaw. And you can go over to aviationcareerspodcast.com, scholarships, or just click on the scholarships on the StuckMikeAvCast.com. If you have questions, anything that you want to add, of course, you can write us here at StuckMikeAvCast. Go to the contact page, find out more. And I really want you to do this. Go out to FloridaAirshow.com. Check out the performers. Check out the pricing. You're not going to get more bang for your buck than you can at Florida Airshow, and you're going to have a lot of fun. Again, Denise, thanks so much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
And this is what I'd like you to do. If you get a chance and you're listening right now, I know this is the podcast about learning to fly, living to fly, and loving to fly. I think you'll love this air show, FloridaAirshow.com. And do this for me. If you haven't been flying, you haven't been out there, gotten into aviation in a while, come down to the air show, check it out. But make sure you try to do something today to get back into aviation and promote your passion for aviation. We'll talk to you next episode. Safe flying out there.